Good morning. It's Josephine Marcellin from josephinemarcellin.com and from bradleygale.com. And I'm here today with you on a very snowy Wednesday morning. It's day 26 of our 30-day run. So we've got 5 more days to go. And you see the smile? I am really excited. And when I thought about today, I thought that the perfect topic that we should cover is this topic of this being the last lap. Okay, so I decided to speak on the last lap because here's the funny thing. You know, I looked at the last 30 days and actually compared it to the game of life. There's stages in our lives that we go through, and you have to think about running through the game of life or moving through the game of life. It's actually just the same as we went through these 30 days. You may think of the last 30 days as sort of a marathon. And that's what life is all about. It's about a marathon. It's about pacing yourself. It's about getting an idea of exactly what you need to be doing every stage, every step of the way. It's about ensuring that you keep your eye focused on the goal because it's a long haul. Things don't happen overnight, right? Things don't happen overnight. But if you're like me, when you were younger, or when I was younger, I remember up until, I would say, age 30. So from 0 to age 30, I thought it was a sprint. And I was running as quickly as possible. I spoke quickly. I learned quickly. I tried to learn as much as I possibly can. I drove quickly, right? Everything was a race. In fact, when I think back to it, if someone asked me around age 10, I think everything around age 10 was a key age for me. That was a pivotal time because that was the time I made the decision what my career was going to be. That's the time I made the decision about how I wanted to show up in the world at age 10. And you think, well, age 10, you see, at age 10, I didn't think I was going to live past 30. Now that's crazy, right? But I truly, truly did not believe that I was going to live past 30. I had this ominous feeling that by age 30, I was not going to be here. And I wanted to make sure that I could do as much as I possibly could in the time that I had available to me to have as much impact as I possibly can. And the key thing here was I absolutely adored my dad. And for me, I wanted to make sure that everything I did was done at the best I possibly could to make him proud and to make my mom proud as well. But if you speak to my mom, she'll definitely acknowledge the fact that my dad was my hero. He was my first mentor. He was my first guide. And I just wanted to be the perfect kid for him. And so from the time I know myself, I've always been trying to overachieve. And we talked about the warrior versus the wizard energy a few sessions ago. Well, I was operating primarily on warrior energy. That was it, just driving force, purely driving force. Even though I was brought up in a spiritual home where we were very focused on prayer and making sure that God was the center of everything, for me, it was just driving, continually driving. And so I overachieved everything. I think at a young age, I skipped 2 classes in elementary school. So I ended up being one of the youngest kids in high school. And I ended up graduating high school at age 15. I was supposed to come to Canada at that time. My parents said I was too young, so I stayed back and did some advanced study for 2 more years. And then I came up to Canada on my own to come to go to university. And again, still using that warrior force. I continued to overachieve. And you can talk to anyone who has gone through that first 30 years with me, and they'll tell you. I didn't let anything get me down because for me, failure was not an option. If I couldn't figure out how to do it, I would figure out how to do it. Right? And that first 30 years was just driving all the way through. Then I got to 30 and I didn't die. Okay, so I didn't die. Now, here's a maybe the perception that I had for the first 30 years of my life was incorrect. Maybe I was living my life based on something that was false. At age 30, I started thinking about, maybe I should just take some time to smell the roses, because I swear to you, I didn't take much time to smell the roses during the first 30 years. And then my son was born. And then I started living for him. So now we go through another almost 30 years, right? Where I have basically done everything I possibly could to be a role model for my son, to let him know that he can accomplish whatever he can, to let him know that he needs to be a model for other people. He needs to leave an impact on the world. He needs to live with integrity. He needs to, the things that I learned, I imparted to him, that your reputation is all you've got. So you have to guard it really, really strongly. Because like my dad always told me, and I remember I told you he's my first mentor, he always said to me, you can lose everything. Material things are not that important. You can lose everything. Someone may take your steal from you, or there could be some disaster that takes everything away from you. But one thing that can never be taken from you is your reputation if you guard it. Because trust takes time to build, but it's lost in an instant. So that's one thing that you always have to protect. The other thing is your relationship with others. Because at the end of at the end of your days, it's not going to matter how much you acquired in this world, but how many lives you impacted, how many people you loved, how many people you helped, what did you actually do? So when you leave this world, they won't remember. No, like he always said, you came into this world naked, you leave this world naked. What really matters, and I've heard other people say it this way, when you go to your tombstone, there's going to be a date, there's going to be a dash, and then there's going to be another date. The day you were born, the dash is your life between the time you were born and the last date is the day you die. So the key here is, what's your dash looking like? And your dash is going to be made up of the sprints, like I did, and then a realization that life is really a marathon. You can't if you continue going with warrior energy, you're going to end up like I did, which is I end up continue driving. I think it took me a while for me to really understand, even though I got to age 30 and I started really paying close attention to my son and what I was doing. So I want to make sure that I'm a role model for him. But I still kept driving. And eventually in 2016, after really pushing my body past what normal people would accept, I ended up falling ill, having burnout at work, essentially going into a little bit of depression, primarily because I was disappointed. Look at this, warped sense. A little bit disappointed that I could not continue to operate at that high level of energy. And so I felt maybe I was a little bit weak. And I didn't want to accept that. And it's funny because when you speak to people, they're like, you're crazy. You're human. You have to understand there's always a breaking point, right? But think about it. I mean, for the first 30 years of my life, all I knew was driving. Warrior force. Then it came to the point where my body just basically broke, and I couldn't accept that. But that was a blessing, because that gave me the opportunity for me to discover the wizard energy, the spiritual part. Because basically I couldn't do anything. I was in bed. I just could not get out of bed for a while because I was totally exhausted. And that gave me the opportunity to recognize that there's this other part of me that I had not nurtured, right? And then the realization that this is not a sprint. It's not a sprint. It's a marathon. Pace yourself, Josephine. Pace yourself. Now, for the last 3 years, almost 3.5 now, it's been a lot different because I've learned to do this balance, this yin and yang, recognizing that not everything is done through warrior energy. These past 30 days started off, I knew I wanted to do it. I knew I did because I made a commitment. I wanted to show my clients who were telling me, look, I can't do this. I can't do this. Letting them know that they can. And I always believe in servant leadership. So I believe by serving, showing by example. Okay. So I'm really happy that we've gotten to this stage in the game. But what I really want to let you know is that this is just a demonstration of the game of life, right? And you are going to go through ups and downs. Not every day that I got on here was a good day, right? But for me, it was a great day. One thing that I would leave you with, okay, is every day is a good day. You know why it's a good day? I heard Norman Vincent Peale says, he actually, if you don't know who Norman Vincent Peale is an author of the, is it The Power of Positive Thinking? I think that's what it is. The book written back in the 1920s. Google him. But I heard him speak. He was 92, and he spoke at my, I was part of a student financial club when I did my graduate degree, my MBA. And he was brought in by the club executive to speak to us. And there's one thing he said, actually two things that actually stayed with me. The first thing he said is that if you find something you love and choose that as your career, you'll never work a day in your life. And I found that to be true. Whenever I look at what I want, how I want to spend my days, I want to spend my days having fun. I want to spend my days with joy. And if I'm working in an environment that's toxic, if I'm working with people that are toxic, if I work with negativity, it's not going to work. And so you will notice that I will stay away from those kinds of situations. I work on things that are fun, even though it may be just regular stuff that needs to get done. I make it fun because I know the end goal, the results are going to really be worth it. The second thing he said is that most people complain. They complain about the weather, they complain about the government, they complain about their job, they complain about their husband or wife. They complain. They spend most of their time complaining. But here's the thing, right? He said that the only people, you should count yourself lucky that you have something to complain about. Because there are some very unlucky people that don't have anything to complain about. You see, those unlucky people are in the cemetery 6 foot under. So every day that you're 6 foot above ground, well, that you're above ground, not all of us are 6 feet, but every day that you're above ground, you should count yourself lucky. And you should be happy because you have life that nobody else does. A lot of people do not. So every morning that I wake up with gratitude that I am thankful that I have another day ahead of me. A day to make impact, a day to take one more step down that marathon of life, a day to live the next 30, 40, 50 years thinking about how to impact people. So this is my challenge to you today. Smile, be grateful for everything you've got, including the stuff that is a little bit difficult, because that's the stuff that God or the universe or spirit, right, has sent to you to challenge you, to help you get over, basically to help you push back your limitations so that you can grow into the person that you really truly should be, that you were meant to be, to have the impact on this world. Because remember, it's a marathon, but you have to understand that things don't happen overnight. You are being provided with the tools to be able to get to the end goal. Enjoy the process, enjoy the journey, enjoy every single part of it, okay? Don't do like I did for the first 30 years of my life, sprint into an end goal, only to find out that the horn that I expected to blow at age 30 never did. Then I had to figure out what the rest of the life was going to be. So now I'm at this stage here. I've actually gotten to a good place where I'm in balance. And now I'm looking forward to the next 30 years because I know it's going to be quite phenomenal. It's the last lap, guys. Let's make it work. Let's make it phenomenal. You have yourself a fantastic day. And I know I went on a long thing this morning, but it just felt right. And I hope you got some value from it. Take care. Have a great day. Bye-bye.